Welcome back, viewers. It is I, James Kalm, the half-assed reporter. We're going to run into Frederics and Freiser and look at a show by Cary Smith. Well, it's a Saturday evening. Hello. And most of the art crowd is still in Miami for the Basel Miami Art Fair. And I have to apologize because I've kind of been slacking off on my recon mission here and have been holed up in the studio. But I thought we'd come in here and try to run through and get 3 or 4 shows, maybe. Okay, this piece is titled Must Be Red, 2015, Oil on Linen. And, well, I guess I started bumping into Cary 5 or 6 years ago. And, well, it's a funny thing, I actually ended up talking to his daughter at a Andrew Masello show. And, I guess Andrew and Cary are kind of working along similar lines, kind of playing with some of the tropes of formalistic abstraction. This piece is called Gray Blocks, Oil on Linen, 36 by 36. Straight lines number 24. Well, we'll get up and take a little close look at this. Cary is a very articulate craftsman, and I think it's a great surface, a very immaculate surface on these pieces. And he also has a tendency to work in kind of series, so he'll start out with a theme and then develop it in several ways and maybe works on this for years. I like this one. Ovals number 31. This is 50 by 50. Now, it says these are oil on linen. I was wondering if they were stretched overboard, but I guess not. And this is nice. We've got this little corner that's got the blues, the reds, the blacks, the yellow, but mostly it's these spaces are defined by these open white areas. It's titled Yellow Wonder Wheel. It's a nice have a sense of scale on these, and well, this gives you an idea of why I like his color sense. And in certain ways, this kind of relates to some of Damien Hirst's dot paintings, except this is even more formal. This is another straight line study, and this is just, looks like ultra blue. Painted splat, 55 by 55. Well, it's kind of like Andrew or even Chris Martin that, they get a lot of stuff happening on the edge. And That's nice. So you've got this basically a two-tone, two-color painting, but the frame or the outer inch is where a lot of the interesting stuff is happening. This is Straight Lines, number 14, red, black. More of the Straight Line series. Well, let's run in the back room. More straight lines. And I like the way that he varies the thicker overlying red lines with the thinner blue lines. This is titled, "Seldom Have We Understood So Little." You know, in a sense, Cary's got kind of a very graphic aesthetic. These little forms kind of make me think of something you'd see in an ad in the 1960s, late 60s maybe. And it's nice to think about the proportions of his white versus black and the thickness or thinness of these lines in relationship to their size and form. This is more straight lines. And again, like I said, he starts out with a theme like this and starts to complicate things. So here we've got kind of a framing devices using 3 colors instead of 1. We've got the sky blue, ultra blue, and then yellow. And then he's making his diagonal grids with the yellows and blacks. Again, the thicker yellow stripes overlaying the blacks. More wonder wheels. And this is almost a chromatic opposite of the one in the other room, which was a yellow background. This is 55 by 55. This is titled HUD, 48 by 48, and this is kind of another of his splat series, 48 by 48. Now, a lot of people would mask these off and do it very mechanically, but I'm not sure if he does that. This is very painstakingly brushed in with a lot of very nice medium. Anyway, this has been a quick run-through of Cary Smith here at Frederics and Freiser. Let's roll on. Well, I'm just going to walk across the street into Mary Boone. commission by Peter Saul. Actually, it's probably a good time to come and visit these Chelsea galleries with everybody out of town. And, gee, look at those red dots. It looks like Peter is doing a little business. Doesn't have the prices on here. This is titled Louis XIV Feeds His Pets. 80 by 64 acrylic on canvas. And, well, Peter is a very interesting, funny, and hardworking character. And, kind of floated around. He was recognized sort of on the periphery, but I don't think he ever really got the kind of, what can I say, market recognition, institutional recognition. That he deserves, and, well, probably for about the last 10 years, I think he's been here in New York, and well, when you start getting regular shows with Mary Boone, I guess you're doing pretty well. This is 80 by 70, and well, Peter's got his technique down. I love that. George Washington crossing the Delaware. Well, I've gotten to know Peter a little bit. I ran into him at a show, I guess it was at Matthew Mark's, called The Nerve. And that was a show dealing with 4 or 5 kind of neo-avant-garde groups. So there was Harry Who and a couple of other groups I can't think of right offhand. But Peter was in there at the show, and we chatted a little bit. Last moments on the raft of the Medusa. 64 by 80. This is 2015. And it's sold. This one's got a little more complex palette. And I know I've taken some photographs and shown some of these pictures, and if you don't get up and look closely at these, you would almost think that this his modeling of the forms was done with an airbrush or something, but well, when you get up close and look at this, you see it's actually kind of like a pointillism. And yeah, I like the way that the kind of the raw sienna fades into the burnt sienna and mixes in kind of a yellow ochre into a, I don't know what you call it, a artichoke green. And yeah, he's kind of borrowed some of the best from the, or maybe they're borrowing from him, the underground comic people. Kind of think of S. Clay Wilson, maybe. I think this is the Birth of Venus. That's nice. So we've got our clamshell floating in space. Maybe should have called this the abortion of Venus, but Venus hasn't quite coagulated. But he does have a real nice technique and is able to kind of represent this beautiful gold, kind of gold box with the Baroque rim. Abstract expressionist cowboy. Oh, gee. I used that as a Halloween costume a couple of years ago. It's 80 by 64. And again, we've got a painting that's all kind of keyed to the green side. And by doing that, he's able to really make these rusty reds and oranges, pinks pop. And Peter's also been in the scene long enough that he actually was having direct contact with some of the abstract expressionists and was young and active when they were doing their thing. Well, we'll go into the inner sanctum sanctorium. I guess this one is lunchtime. And, well, this pops. Now, I was at a little panel discussion for a show that Fong Bui curated, I guess it was a year and a half ago, called Are We Experienced? It was basically talking about the influence of psychedelic drugs on contemporary art, abstract art. And Peter was there in the audience, and when it came to the question and answer period, he got up and said, gee, I don't know why everybody has to get into all these weird drugs and narcotics and stuff. I always thought smoking cigarettes and drinking booze was always enough for me. So I think that kind of shows you what kind of humor Peter has. Portrait in the style of de Kooning. And, well, there's always a kind of a humorous, funny side, and yeah, I wanted to try to get in a part of the Carol Dunham show, but I think they're taking it down, and it would have been nice to compare these. Anyway, this is Peter Saul at Mary Boone. Moving. Well, we'll just walk up the street to Luhring Augustine. And look at an exhibition by Rachael Whiteread titled Looking In. Well, I guess I owe it to the viewers to catch this, which is the second part of an exhibition that I covered out at their Bushwick space. And, well, I believe the show out in Bushwick was studies and drawings for some of her projects during the 90s. And then they had a cast concrete garden shed. And, well, this is a little different thing. This is mostly segments with resin. And, I thought these were in glass cases, but they're not. This is solid chunks of resin and cement. This is Untitled 2015, 23 by 61. This is Untitled Silverleaf. Paper mache and silverleaf. Well, I kind of like that. She's carrying on her theme of kind of impressing things and casting things. Untitled Patched Up. Well, in certain ways, I would have to say this maybe is more commercial. You know, these pieces are small enough, they're manageable enough that you could collect these fairly easily. And, well, the casts are beautiful, and, yeah, this is a nice piece. Kind of makes me think of the Dan Valentine show that they had at David Zwirner during the summer. He was showing some of his massive cast resin pieces. Untitled 2015. As a matter of fact, these are all untitled, which always makes it easy for me. And, okay, so we've got a slab of concrete on the back that's about an inch thick, and then, yeah, she's got the clear resin over the top. This is Untitled. .53.5 by 61.5, 9 panels. Well, I think this piece recalls less some kind of fragment of a piece of architecture or something, and instead gets into more of a straight formalism. And, well, I remember seeing a group of artists in Germany in the mid-70s that were doing a lot of work with mirrors and cut glass and optics, and this is not exactly the same thing, but there are some kind of similar issues that they bring up. I'm calling this Untitled Curtains. And these kind of slabs against the wall make me think of John McCracken a little bit. And well, also this resin has got a little rose tint, which is nice over the gray of the concrete. And yeah, so that it's got a lot of kind of subtle bas-relief or maybe a little sculptural thing sticking out a little. This is Untitled, 3 panels, 23 by 61. You know, I think this is quite a kind of a jump for Rachael, because this transparency of the resins really does allow you to kind of experience these pieces in a different way. And her previous pieces that were concrete didn't really let you look through them. Okay, let's coast into the back galleries. More untitled. This is 40 by 47, 2 panels. And yeah, this resin is wonderful, and I like the kind of green cast. I don't know whether that's a tint that she's put in there or just a natural result of the resin. This is untitled, parentheses, double vision. And again, we've got the concrete of the brick wall with the overlay. It looks like the cast of a window frame. That piece actually made me think of a Duchamp piece I saw in Washington, D.C. last week, and it was his door with the leather. These pieces are all untitled, and they are ink on transfer film. So this has been James Kalm. Running through Chelsea. This has been Rachael Whiteread looking in at Luhring Augustine, 531 West 24th Street. Thank you, Kate. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was great.
Anytime at all.
I've seen you playing the bass down here too, right? You played.
I played like 8 instruments.
You're good.